out, and landscape architects are the ones that set the trends for everything else. So they put in some really killer project somewhere, some really cool landscape architecture, and then people see it. They're like, oh my gosh, I want that. Imagine being the landscape architect responsible for the Karl Forster grass. A trend everywhere. I mean, I grow 30,000 Karl Forster grasses in a year.
Man.
Okay? 100 to 150 of everything else.
Yeah.
That's the disparity, wow. So
it gives you that. It's a clumping grass. It gives you that tidy. It's not a spreading grass.
Nope. It's got a nice form to it, and it's the first grass that's up in the spring. There's nothing else that's up early. Because they start coming up in March.
Oh yeah.
Everything.
I've got a couple in my yard. Okay. It is interesting to see it near the theater or near parks or whatever, where it is in rows.
Yeah. Yep, or triangles, different shapes, geometric type stuff, contemporary landscapes. That's a really good grass for that.
Catches your eye.
It does.
For sure. And then when the wind blows, it gives you that certain look.
And there's a bazillion other Calamagrostis that'll do the same thing. Why Karl Forster ended up winning, I don't know. But I think there's other more interesting grasses. Lightning Strike was a really good one. It's a variegated one. It has a nice, bright, big, wide white stripe in it.
Yeah.
It's really kind of neat. Hello Spring was really nice. It's a little bit shorter. Overdam's good. Eldorado, I think, has the best form out of all of them, and it has a gold trim to it. But again, people just like Karl Forster because
that name circulates, and then it's
it is mostly. It's oh, my neighbor has it. It looked good. I'm going to get that one.
Exactly.
I don't want the other one that performs better. I want that one.
Yeah. People just asked before, and I was like, do you really want your yard to look like a burger joint? Because, Burger King, it's all Karl Forster grasses all along the drive-thru. I'm like, all right, if that's what you want, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's cool beans. I personally, I'd like something a little bit more interesting. But
you grow miscanthus and panicums and all of those guys.
Yeah,
cool.
Schizachyriums, if that's how you spell that name, I can't remember. Half the Latin names that I know, I don't even know how to pronounce right.
No, get close. That's good.
She's a schizophrenia.
Schizophrenia?
Yeah. So...
I actually have 2 of your Garas because I went on one of your retail sell days
in
the summer one time, and I was like, give me some Garas. I want some Garas from a yard.
Which ones did you get? Sparkle White?
I don't even remember the variety. I just wanted some Garas. I was like, they were white ones. They weren't the pink ones.
They weren't the pink. Yeah, it was probably Sparkle White. That one was a really good one. A lot of people just get the regular white whatever. Sparkle White's really nice because it's just really well behaved, and it seems like it has bigger flowers too, profuse. So we really like that one. So we might just discontinue the regular Gara and just do the Sparkle White instead. But
yeah, I did a kind of an experiment. I just barely cut one of them down, but I cut the other one down in the fall to see if they're going to come back different.
How they react.
Yeah, how they do differently. I was going to do that to some roses too, but I just barely cut it, just barely.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, most of the perennials, I just whack it back in the fall. I just never think twice about it.
Yeah.
I
want to see if it made any difference, but I doubt it's going to make any difference at all.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they did. When they die back, Garas die back really hard.
Yeah.
They're kind of borderline hardy here. But I had them in my old yard, and they did fantastic. My ex-wife absolutely loved that,
So what are some of those new varieties that you guys were talking about?
The ones for this year, put me on the spot because I don't remember.
Or maybe if it's just something that you're excited about, or
actually, the ones that I was really excited about, we launched last year, and I got a chance to actually use them in some landscapes that I designed over, in Daybreak. We did it must have been a $5 or $6 million house over in Draper. They just gave us free reign. It was awesome. So I can't really.
That is cool.
But there's some Rosa Sharons called Purple Pillar and White Pillar. You've probably kind of seen me talk about them a little bit on the Facebook forums a little bit. They are a columnar shrub, columnar flowering shrub. There's nothing else that's that tall, that skinny, that flowers.
Yeah.
So
is it that, and it's that purple and kind of maroon?
Yeah, there's a purple with kind of a maroonish throat.
Yeah.
And then there's a white one. So those are the only 2 colors so far. So those ones I was really excited about. The butterfly bush that we've done, Proven Winners has their Miss series. So we picked up Miss Molly, Miss Ruby, Miss Violet. They get about 4 to 5 feet tall, and they bloom so profusely. Just in our fields, they were just covered in butterflies. I've never seen anything like it. And their foliage doesn't get eaten by whatever eats the regular Buddleia davidi. So they held up really nicely. And then the Pugster series that Proven Winners did too. They're really cool. They're really unique and different. If you look up a picture of like the Pugster Amethyst, since you have the computer over there,
is that the Buddleia?
Yeah, if you can.
Pugster?
Yeah, it's called Pugster. It's a Pugster series. There's a Pugster Amethyst, Pugster Blue, but they have like these huge panicles on them, and they only get like 2 feet tall.
That was the biggest problem with butterfly bush originally, is it would just be this monster 8-9 foot.
Yeah, but yeah, they're nice and tight. But yeah, look at that one right there. Yeah, that's the amethyst. I mean, come on,
cool.
That is so cool. You know,
it looks like it's been growth regged, but it's not.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
So it only gets like 2 feet tall. So in all these properties that are being built, like, you know, over in Daybreak, and I mean, as I was driving down here, I'm seeing like all these little houses, teeny little lots, you know, instead of houses being 20 feet, now 10 feet apart. Plant breeders are now creating plants that fit this new type of layout.
The dwarfs and the miniatures.
You got dwarfs, you've got columnar areas, or spaces where you can only fit like very narrow things. And so that's what they've kind of done. Now, it's cool that they're doing that. Now, here's what really like blows my mind, okay? Do either of you know how long it takes to bring something to market? Like 15 to 20 is like the average.
Wow.
Okay. So if you think about this, so 20 years ago, somebody's like, you know, we're going to have to start selecting plants for this and this and this. Like they had the foresight to think about how things were going to get developed. And that's what they started selecting for.
And that's the direction it went.
And that's the direction that it went. Like, it's absolutely crazy that they were able to kind of figure this out. That's some visionary type stuff right there.
And so, are you growing this right now? You have
these.
Oh, that's cool.
I've got some. I've wintered some over from last year. They're in our cold frame. They look absolutely fantastic right now.
Cool.
So they're starting to wake up, even though it's kind of early for them. But
Pugster.
Yeah, so they're really cool. The Buzz series, I think Bailey's Nurseries introduced that a couple years ago. That's also another dwarf. They have like a little bit smaller flowers, but they are more profuse. The colors seem to be like a little bit richer. So, I mean, everybody's kind of got their answers. Like Proven got their thing. Bailey's has their own thing with like their first editions line. Monrovia is Monrovia. We sell, half of my sales are actually over into Colorado. I sell more to Colorado than I do in my own backyard.
Really?
It's kind of nutty.
That is
so
wild.
They consume so much plant material over there. It's unbelievable.
Well, you're growing the right stuff, it sounds like, for sure.
Actually, funny thing is that the Front Range actually has slightly different plant palettes than what we do. Like a lot of the trees that we grow here don't survive over in Denver. Like Zelkovas.
Oh, they don't. Huh?
No.
Wow. Okay.
Really?
No.
Is it the pH? No, it can't be the pH.
It's the temperature swings.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So they get these crazy temperature swings in the winter. Like they could be at 70 degrees one day and then negative 15 the next.
Oh, jeez.
And it just wreaks havoc on stuff. So you see like a lot of honey locusts over there.
Yeah.
Trying to think what else did I really see. Not a whole lot of maples. Don't really see those over there.
Anything with thin bark would not do well, maybe.
No, crab apples I see a fair amount over there. Not a whole lot of flowering cherries.
Yeah. Oaks, maybe.
Yeah, I see like Quercus macrocarpa. You see a fair amount of those over there. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of nutty, for sure.
That is pretty
Kentucky
wild.
Coffee trees are kind of big over there.
Okay, yeah. They're tough.
Yeah. Autumn blaze maples that don't grow here do
well
marginally better over there. I'm not going to say they're like way better, but they get 10 years out of them instead of the 2 that we get here. But
That's so funny.
So how many acres are you growing on right now? I mean, you have the potential for 100, but what are you planning right now?
Actively growing, probably off about 40 to 60, somewhere in there. We do still do like a little bit of like, re-wholesale where we're just like bringing stuff in and selling it off again. Things like boxwood, like there's no point in trying to grow boxwood here in a container. Like winter's just going to kill it. And what like Oregon can do to a boxwood in 2 years takes me like 7.
Yes, yeah.
It's like I can turn other things.
Utah natives, Great Basin natives, that water-wise, drought-tolerant plants. I mean, what's the direction there? I mean,
there's a huge gap in the native part of our industry. 3 growers west of the Mississippi.
For the market that is buying plants, not native, it takes 15 to 20 years to get a new variety out to market from those plants.
Yeah.
So it's even going to be longer for natives.
Well, it's not even so much that. I mean, there's not a whole lot of people that are selecting or patenting natives, because the whole point of having natives is to have that biodiversity, not uniformity. So like the guys up at Native Roots up in Idaho, I mean, they have their own thing kind of going. They want to, start using natives, and they're selecting to get like some uniformity in it. But, if you ever planted like a Fallujah paradoxa, that's Apache plume for all of you non-horticulture people, they could be like 8 feet tall, or they could be 4 feet tall. So Steve Paulson up at Native Roots, I mean, he's, taken on a huge task in trying to breed that. But again, it's horticulture, and it's now lack of biodiversity again.
Okay.
But that's what he's trying to do up there, which I applaud him for that. Where the real holes are at on the native side of things are things like shrubs, like sagebrush, for instance. I mean, trying to find a sagebrush right now, which is weird because they grow everywhere.
Right.
But trying to find it, nobody grows it. They're hard to grow.
What about the mountain mahogany and the? Yeah. But here's the thing, though, too. Is it? I mean, if you were to grow that here, it would take years, 5+ years, to get a decent sized sellable.
Potentially, I mean, probably 3 to 4 to do it from seed.
Exactly. Yeah.
So in the nursery industry, it comes down to economics. It comes down to like turn. For instance,
how quick can you turn it?
Yeah, exactly. Shrubs that everybody loves that I'm beginning to hate is, Russian sage. Okay. I mean, it's beautiful. The landscape, it kind of has a tendency to spread, turns into a weed. It's really uneven performance, but everybody likes them because they're colorful and beautiful, and is one of the easiest things to propagate in the world.
It's so true.
Yeah. It's so true. You take
I couldn't kill mine.
Yeah.
It was like I ripped it out and it still came back.
Yeah, and you can take a softwood cut, like before they start flowering, just go and cut them, and then they'll root out in a growing media in like 7 days.
So they're super marketable.
Super marketable, because I could just put it in there. I could have a finished 5-gallon probably by the end of a season if I cut it right.
Wow.
So I can go from cutting to 5-gallon.
Quick turnover right there.
So that's a very quick turnover versus a native that I have to sit on for 4 or 5 years.
So here's my question. Do you just grow what you can sell?
Yes and no. It's a very fine balance. We're actually getting pretty hard back into the native game because not out of purely economic interest, but more of a social responsibility interest. Because there's a lot of projects that go in, like, highways that go in, they have to revegetate the sides of the road. And we're trying to take the role of what the old native plants used to do. So it's kind of funny how everything comes full circle in this world, and use more of like the natives and to grow that for the market. It's going to take some time. We hope to have over $1 million worth of native stock by 2020. So, or 2020, I think is probably the soonest we'll get to that, but that's what we're going to try to do. There's places in Colorado that have already given me just like orders, just be like, we'll contract for you guys to do these things. So, and it's funny. It's like sagebrush. It's rubber rabbit. It's, what else was there good for? Fallujah paradoxa, like the Apache plume, Circocarpus ledifolia, Circocarpus montanus, the little used Circocarpus intricatus. That's one of my favorites. That's actually a really good mahogany. So I really like that one. So we've been playing around with that a little bit. So we'll be introducing some things here going forward. Kind of expect the commercial market more to kind of pick those up more than anything.
Yeah. I'm seeing penstemons kind of circulating into the market.
A lot of them are more of the ornamental varieties for performance-wise and whatnot. Don't see a whole lot of the natives. I mean, I see a little bit of the Ceananthus penifolius.
And those guys, I used to work at the U, and I was on a crew. We weren't even part of the breeding program. He just wanted more penstemon, and we didn't have any money to buy him. And he got a hold of the greenhouse lady, and we were breeding our own.
So we're playing around with that, native, because there's only one big native grower out of California. There's a native liner grower, I think, out of Montana.
That surprises me because Colorado seems to be that's where I would think it's like the center of
the hot spot.
The whole idea of being dry, like xeriscaping, came out of Colorado. I mean, it's just like
planting responsibly for sure.
Yeah,
and that's a lot of like Colorado State University's credit, and then just the nursery industry over there is, like I said, they are light years ahead of where we are. I guess what's the word that I kind of look. Mentally, when it comes to that, culturally, I guess might be the better phrase. So, Fort Collins Wholesale in Fort Collins, they are probably like the leaders in the industry as far as like doing natives and whatnot. They're the ones that are growing the most, developing the most, patenting. They've got a couple of things that they've done that have been really, really cool. There's actually a rabbit brush that comes out of Colorado too, and I know the guy that Tom Halver said he's a cool dude. He works for Arbor Valley. He used to have his own nursery in Country Lane in Franktown. So there's a particular rabbit brush that gets specced all the time. It's called like Baby's Blue.